Good morning. This is an assignment to take care of while I'm at a conference. The purpose of this assignment is to help you become more familiar with the next generation science standards. You will explore the NGSS website and practice searching for standards that are connected to teaching and learning science. You may wish to use information that supports the topic you're planning to use for your science unit, but that's not required. Locating this information will also help you using evidence statements. Evidence statements describe behaviors your students should show that provide evidence that learning has taken place with respect to a given standard. In the end, you'll submit a document that shows a grade level progression. A grade level progression shows how science content evolves over time and how the way a student demonstrates science learning also grows over time. There's some important background information. As far as the standards, within the next generation science standards, there are three distinct and equally important dimensions to science learning. These dimensions are combined to form each standard, or performance expectation, and each dimension works with the other two to help students build a cohesive understanding of science over time. Now, assessing learning, one of the important and helpful parts of the NGSS is there's always a set of new materials being developed to help support science instruction and assessment. Put together a project for you to help you inspect and report back what you've learned about developing assessment. Link 1 will provide you with an overview of the next generation science standards. It covers their content, structure, and how to interpret the naming convention of those standards. The document you're listening to at this moment is the narrated overview. Its purpose is to acquaint you with some NGSS resources and outline the brief project that you are to complete. The final link will bring you to the NGSS search page. It will provide you with the information you need to complete the assigned task. To start the project, you're going to need to access the NGSS search site. Please do this. You may wish to pause this presentation while you activate the link. The same link is available through Canvas. This is the NGSS search page. You can search for science topics such as energy, force, motion, and so on, and you can filter the page in a number of ways. For today's task, you should search for science content. In this example, I'm interested in searching for properties of matter. I entered this search term in the keyword search box. I also want to search for middle school science content for grades 6 through 8. There is a drop-down menu that lets me carry out this sort of search. When I press the Submit button, it generated a whole series of standards that match the search term and the filter. As I scroll down to the lower part of the page, you can see that 3 pages of middle school science content covering the properties of matter is available for inspection. Scrolling back up, I selected the standard MS PS1-1 Matter and its Interactions. The next page will display that standard. On this page, there's a full statement of the standard. The standard is in the top of the table, which states to develop models that describe the atomic composition of simple molecules and extended structures. This describes what students should learn by the end of middle school. The clarification statement provides examples for teachers that help explain how to interpret the standard. A variety of examples could be developed into classroom activities to help students master this knowledge. The assessment boundary helps to explain the areas that's appropriate for you to assess while learning and teaching this topic. It'll help you keep the content age appropriate and also help you think about how to assess the standard. The relevant science and engineering practices, disciplinary core ideas, and cross-cutting concepts are also described. There are a number of other resources on the right-hand side of the page. One we're focusing on today is evidence statements. Evidence statements map out what constitutes evidence of learning. Follow that link to an example that supports this standard. This is the evidence statement. The top part of the document should appear familiar. It reproduces the standard and the 3 dimensions of learning science. I've enlarged the lower part of the document. This reveals the features of the performance. This describes what students should be able to do in order to demonstrate their mastery of a standard. The evidence statement for this standard focuses on 3 areas. This, of course, varies from statement to statement. First of all, it addresses the components of the model. In this example, it focuses on the parts of the model, how they may be structured, and what sort of substances are evident at the macroscopic or classroom level. It also addresses relationship among the components, which includes atoms and how they combine with one another, and structures related to how atoms combine. Finally, the type of connections that form among atoms is identified as the third part of the evidence statement. Students, by the end of middle school, will describe the various ways that atoms combine to form molecules. The structure of those linked atoms becomes part of the student's body of understanding and knowledge, and students need to be able to explain how the macroscopic behaviors and its appearance can be explained by the way atoms make up the substance at the molecular level. So again, bottom line is there's a connection between how atoms combine at the molecular level and what we see at our classroom level. Let's move now to the next step in your project, using the search tools and the evidence statement to understand how learning transitions over time. Your task is to locate the information about a single standard and map it out over 3 different grade levels. The intention of this activity, beyond simply helping you to learn more about the NGSS and how to locate standards, is designed to help you understand how learning transitions and progresses by different grade levels. A grade level progression shows how concepts evolve in complexity as we explore them in depth. This progression will help you understand why we focus on delivering specific content at each grade level and what that content looks like. It helps make a better and more informed choices as a teacher. In essence, this is a chance to see how the knowledge we teach and how we assess it evolves as students mature. Here's an example of what a completed submission should look like. In this instance, the example is based on content related to forces and interactions. The same standard was compared at 3 different grade levels: kindergarten, grade 5, and middle school, which is grades 6 through 8. Please direct your attention to the information in the red boxes. This information was copied from the NGSS standard and transferred to the template. This is the language of the standard across 3 different grade levels. The information marked with the blue boxes was transferred to the template from the evidence statement. The final part of this task is probably the most important part. It's a chance to review the standard and describe how it evolves over time, along with how the information included in the evidence statement evolves. 2 trends is sufficient. This will help you appreciate how knowledge evolves as students mature, and how your assessment practices should also evolve. There are many choices for you to consider. You do not need to be exhaustive in your analysis, but you should point out how an idea grows. As noted before, identifying and describing 2 trends is sufficient. So a template is a Word document that's provided to help organize your information. Please, when you're finished, submit this by Canvas. Thank you for watching this, and best wishes as you work through this project. I think you'll find it instructive. You may complete this with your partner. If you do so, please let me know that both of you should receive credit for this work. Please put both of your names on one of the documents.